straight from the heart, straight from the heart. We're coming straight from the heart of East Tennessee.
From the heart of the Smokies to the rocky top of the hill, with all the spirit, all the pride that's living with us still. From the ridges and the hollers to the bluffs of the Cherokee, we're coming straight from the heart of East Tennessee. Catfish on the line, country ham so fine, dogwoods all abloom, bright Kentucky moon. There's so much more to see, there's so much more to be, when you're straight from the heart of East Tennessee.
The World's Fair in 1982 put Knoxville on the map, so to speak, and the Sun Sphere was in the middle of it all. Today, 22 years later, the landmark still stands proud in downtown Knoxville, but that's all about to change.
And that thing's been there since the 80s. It's blocking up the view of downtown. We got birds hanging around there, pigeons everywhere. It's time to move it out.
Mayor Haslam says Turkey Creek is the place to put it.
This will be the first thing they see if they're approaching from the south or the west. It's the first thing they'll see, and they'll realize, hey, I'm in Knoxville already.
Frank Rothermel of Denark Construction is in charge of the project. Today, he explained how they'll move the 5,322-ton structure.
We're going to have to lay it down first on its side, and we're going to do it with helicopters. Now, it would cost probably 10 times as much if we were going to disassemble it. Then once we get it down its side, we're going to coordinate with 4 helicopters to flip it over, and we're going to anchor from the bottom, and then we're going to fly it out there.
However, in an already crowded West Knoxville area, where will they put the big gold ball?
There's an area, not on the Walmart side, on the opposite side of the road, where it's going to be perfect. Not far from, I believe there's a car dealership out there.
It will no doubt be a huge undertaking for the city, but the mayor insists it's best for everyone involved.
I'm looking at a study right here that says if we move that, we can gain 83 more parking places, which will increase the average visit to the convention center 7.2%, and we think will pay off very well.
If accepted, the Sun Sphere's move to Turkey Creek could be a highlight in the mayor's political career.
I'm here to tell you it's a new day, and that Sun Sphere is yesterday.
It's one of the most powerful radio stations in America, WIVK 107.7, the dominant #1 station in East Tennessee. Last week, the station announced it was on the auction block, up for sale.
The Dick family has owned our company since 1953, and the way the business is going with all the mergers and the buyouts, they felt that now was the time to sell.
Yesterday afternoon, a potential buyer stepped forward, the team of Bob Kesling and Bill Williams. They toured the WIVK studios, ready to make an offer.
Hey, Tim. Bob Kesling. Hey, Bob. Good to see you. Bill Williams. Hey, Bill. Great to meet you.
The two well-known TV anchors were together at Channel 10 for 19 years. However, last year, Bob left WBIR to take over the radio voice of the Vols. Bill is retiring this December. So to keep their relationship going through the years, the two are going into business together, gunning for WIVK. A press conference was held to announce the deal.
We believe if we stay focused, keep up the intensity, we can bring this station to another level. Used to be WIVK, ladies and gentlemen, the new call letters, the new station, WARD.
WARD, the call letters say it all. Bill and Bob plan on changing the station's format to a more Big Orange flair.
One of the stations is going to be 24 hours a day, John Ward. His old games, if people want to hear the 1968 Georgia game, we'll have that. And people can write in requests for the games they want to hear, so it's going to be WARD, 24 Hours of John Ward.
This gives me a chance in my retirement to continue broadcasting. I'm going to be doing play-by-play of some of the lesser-known sports, play-by-play of rowing, play-by-play of local bass tournaments. I already talked to Sonny Lee. He's going to be a color commentator. It's just going to be tremendously exciting.
So the question is now is, where are these two going to come up with the money it takes to buy these stations? $400 million is the price tag. Well, that's where Howard Fine and Howard step into the picture.
For what we're getting with these stations, with the involvement with two established broadcasters, and Bob and Bill, you know, frankly, we were willing to pay more, but we put the offer out, and Bobby didn't said pay no more, and we had a deal.
WARD 107.7, a powerhouse in the market that will take radio to a new level, and a way to keep these two old buddies together for years to come. Mark Packer, Action 10 Sports.
So we want to know, how do you feel about April Fool's Day pranks?
The project to build a new baseball stadium in Knoxville to replace Bill Myers Stadium might not be dead after all. A federal grant could pump life into the downtown Knoxville area. Perfect. Andy Taylor is the Southeast Regional Director for the Mayberry Grant.
Well, the Mayberry Grant is a program that's been around for several years. Not many people know about it. It's basically designed to help promote economic growth, maybe in areas that have not had a lot of activity in that area.
With this federal money, plans are now on the board for a combination baseball stadium, convention, and the Justice Center. The proposed project would be called the Shazam Center, named after County Executive Tommy Shumpert, Jim Haslam, Mayor Victor Ashe, Sam Anderson, and Carlene Malone from the City Council.
When we first started looking at it, we were projecting somewhere in the range of $300 million to $325 million, but of course now we don't need a hockey arena anymore, so that helps us scale it back.
The respected architectural firm of Howard, Fine and Howard has been hired to design this massive complex.
If you took the combined area of downtown Lenoir City, Loudoun, Maryville, Alcoa, and Louisville, it would be actually a little bit larger than those combined.
The Shazam Center will involve present businesses as well. The Regus restaurant will now anchor the food court area. The Greyhound bus station will be enlarged to allow tour buses and charters to enter directly into the complex. And the rail system will also benefit the new convention center.
We hope to attract the circus back in town. The circus trains can come right into the station, load the elephants, the giraffes, and whatnot on the freight elevators and take them right up to the convention floor. So it's going to help everyone.
Did you get along with the superintendent in working this out?
Yeah, I get along well with people. I mean, I'll speak my mind. If I don't like where they got it, I can tell them where to put it. And, you know, so we had a lot of that going on. But we finally all agreed that this was something that we should try. Well, for this or just hold it? Go ahead.
No, that's fine. Okay. So what is that going to be?
Well, this is the pass. You know, we wanted to do it like real official. And so we really have the, you know, the badge, the patch, you know, where everybody will have this. And, you know, it's like you just wear it somewhere on your clothes.
This is a Ranger.
Oh, and the Ranger hat. I love this. See, butterflies are my thing, and Dollywood, you know, their logo is the butterfly, and we thought this would be great, you know, just kind of get your little...
So the Rangers will all have a little butterfly on their hats?
Yeah, don't you think that'd be cute?
So is this an annual event, or does this just happen around the 1st of April?
This year, you know, we thought this was a great thing to do, and it really, I got so involved in it that I got to believe in it's true, but it's April Fool. Get me off this camera.
Uncle.
I'm beginning to be like Junior Samples. I'm beginning to see this. It's for real.
It's gonna happen.
I'm taking it for real.
Tennessee made it to the NIT this season, but wants to make the NCAA tournament next year. To do that, Coach O'Neill is going to try something new, a way to get his team to concentrate before games.
The thing is, Kevin O'Neill has been doing some studying about trances, trying to get his team to perform better. And if they say they do this, get into the trance, he thinks it can help them a little bit. So now we're in the middle of one of their meditation periods. Coach, I know this is a new experimental thing. Does this trance thing really work?
Would we be doing it if it didn't work, Bob?
Well, I wouldn't.
Of course it works. You should go ahead. You try it.
What do you do?
You see what they're doing. Just go ahead and do it.
And think about what
Just think about putting the ball in the basket, Bob.
Okay. And just
think about it.
Like this.
April Fool's, Bob.
What? That's real funny, Kevin. Real cute, Coach. Let me out. Hey, Coach. All right, good April Fool's joke. You got me. Let me out now. Hey, I'll show you a slam dunk when I get out of here. Hey, hey, hey.
We are sharing some of our favorite East Tennessee pranks. Visit My Smokies was back with another elaborate and completely fake claim. It says someone discovered a massive network of moonshiner tunnels under the Smoky Mountains. The claim came complete with pictures and a fake tweet from the national park.
The 90-acre tract of land on Level Road is going to the dogs. Dog racing, that is. The owner of the property, Scott Smith, is set to sell the land to Terrier Incorporated of West Memphis, Arkansas, and they're going to put in a 10,000-seat dog track.
Well, we really wanted to stick with a sports venue. You know, I thought about a NASCAR track, but it was just too loud, and I like dogs.
The design for the property is similar to the baseball stadium, but a state-of-the-art kennel club is being added. Even if the residents complain, there's little Knox County can do to block this project.
Based on what I found out about this operation, that we can do anything. It appears to me they're within the law in every respect.
And the Kennel Club, I guess, is the reason that pushes them over the top.
Yeah, it's a kind of a funny angle to take on this, but apparently it's very proper, even though it's kind of unorthodox, that going with the Kennel Club gives them the right to do just about anything they want to.
Terrier Incorporated has 15 tracks located across the nation, but the Level Road site would be its biggest and would generate the most money in terms of betting dollars.
Well, I think it probably makes it more palatable to the Racing Commission that it's not strictly a racing operation. There are some public benefits that go with it.
To help get the residents around Level Road involved, each Wednesday they can bring their own personal dogs to the track to race. Prize money up to $1,000 per night is available to the winning dog.
The dogs don't make much noise, and pretty much it's enclosed, so it won't make too much noise for the neighbors.
Well, April Fool's Day is here again, and it's obvious to see that people are still the biggest fools of all. We'd like to say hello to Mrs. Lockett. Yeah, I can see, Mrs. Lockett, that really the practical jokes that I knew several years ago really haven't changed much. I see you have a 35mm camera here. How does it work?
It has a little rat that jumps out at you. Would you like to see it?
Yes, I would. And this is a box from 5th Avenue. What's in it, Mrs. Lockett?
It has a little snake that just moves when you open it up.
Scare someone, as with these vampire nails that you have. The eyes seem to be a good fad.
Suction cup on it. You can stick it in the middle of your forehead.
It will be a third eye. This one is a...
Put it over your eye and make a big old black eye.
And this one looks familiar from years gone by.
Would you like to see that?
Yes.
It's terrible, really.
Woo! Well, I see the jokes certainly haven't changed from the days of my youth. Thank you very much, Mrs. Lockett. Do you mind if I use your telephone before I leave? Oh, well, anyhow, April Fool's Day. Big deal.
A rumor spreading that Kanye West is buying Dollywood. It claims the park cost him about $130 million and would be renamed Yeezywood. I had to ask the kids, is it Yeezy or Yeezy? Splash Country would become Ye's Splash Pad, and Kim Kardashian would have a clothes store inside. Now, that article even pretend quotes Dolly and Kanye and the Knoxville News Sentinel.
Life is a struggle.
We work hard to achieve our goals. Most of us take ourselves and what we do very seriously, perhaps too seriously. As cold winter winds to a close and spring approaches, a bizarre day is celebrated where tricks are played and what's right is wrong. April Fool's Day. No one is quite sure how April Fool's Day came to be, but in the 16th century, when the Gregorian calendar was adapted, most of Europe changed their New Year's celebration from the last week of March to January 1st. Those that didn't get the message were called April Fools. Some were sent April Fish as a reminder that they goofed. I'm Bill Landry with some April Fish of our own on Heartland Tonight. Once a year, April Fools, people throughout the world prepare to be fooled. In France, school children cut out paper fish and stick them on the back of unsuspecting classmates. Even the British and the colonies picked up the tradition by 1750. So stick around, we've got some lost joke time to make up for. Europeans take April Fool's Day very seriously. We do too. On Heartland Tonight, the world is out of joint, as we're befuddled by a whacked-out metamorphosis in nature and the shocking politics behind paving the Appalachian Trail. We uncover the truth behind the geologic phenomenon that scooted a chunk of land between two continents. And they've finally done it, squeezed power out of electric trees. It was the night of March 31st. We had to have a show to air tomorrow when the idea presented itself. The great walking trees of the Great Smoky Mountains. No, they're too hard to see. We've got to have something we can see. Television's a visual medium. Well, there's an archaeological dig going on, and we know the scientists. Yeah, it'll be science in action, and we can find what's up with this carbon dating business.
Water, our most abundant natural resource. Today, it's more valuable than ever.
We're suffering right now.
The Heartland Series is in Georgia today to explore that state's claim to Tennessee's water resources. What could be a land grab for water is based on Georgia's claim that the Tennessee River is actually in the northwest corner of Georgia and that the border maps are incorrectly drawn.
Billy, we're not just sitting around watching our resources dry up. No, we're trying to fill our coffers with water. Down here we call it liquid gold. Yes, sirree, and I'll tell you what, boy, do we need it.
Yeah! Georgia Senator Lowland Red Muck surveys Lake Mead near Atlanta, or what's left of it. Recent rains have helped, but what's needed comes not from nature.
Billy, we're in desperate need of solid political remedies here. This is life and death to the people in the state of Georgia. We're just so happy that the people of Tennessee have got so much water up there that they're prepared to share a little of it voluntarily with us. Go Vols!
Amazingly, Georgia is already resupplying its lakes and rivers with Tennessee water. TVA and the Army Corps of Engineers have been working quietly and efficiently with the Cracker Waterline Southern States Corporation, building pipes and drainage trenches for nearly a decade.
Well, it's a battle over water resources, Bill. Atlanta is growing in leaps and bounds. Chattanooga isn't. They don't need the water. We do.
It's Muck's claim that current border maps are incorrect and he wants them redrawn.
Yeah, but you're talking about 200-year-old borders and boundaries and redrawn maps.
So what? Them old maps was drawn with old equipment. We got new equipment now, better. Old maps is old.
Historically, old maps have proven problematic. In surveying Tennessee's northern border with Kentucky, for example, surveyors approaching from the east and west missed it nearly 60 miles. The glitch in the border is the result. The diversion of rivers is one possible solution, but rivers like the Cumberland are too far north to help states like Georgia or Florida. To Muck, the solution is obvious.
That border's been wrong for 200 years, Bill. It's only a few miles, but now we got the latest technology. It's going to be all right. You'll see. Besides, God's on our side.
Regardless of who's right, overland water corridors on the Tennessee River below Chattanooga have already been built.
You know, we figure we're going to get the best utilization down south of Chattanooga. You know, the good people of Tennessee don't need much water, and they got all they need. Besides, they don't shower much anyway.
Drought relief for Georgia is on the way.
This here, Bill, is the Tennessee River. That, yes, sir. It's a running due south from Chattanooga straight to Atlanta. It runs clean and clear, and there ain't nothing left to do but to turn on the spigots.
The Georgia part of the Tennessee River, bringing Tennessee's abundant natural resources to a neighbor state in need. Nothing wrong with that.
Thank you for watching WBIR.
The reintroduction of native plants and animals back into the Smokies have gained much favor in the past few decades. The river otter is an excellent example of a species that has prospered after being reintroduced into the mountains they once called home. But it's a long and difficult process to bring an animal back to an environment when it has been absent for years. Many times the only focus is on the grand finale or release of these animals. But the real story is all that goes on behind the scenes to make it all possible.
Well, it takes lots of research, first of all. Lots of research. We look to see if the animal is native to the area, when they lived there, what they ate, and why they left the area.
Annie Mull is a biologist who works at the National Park Service in Washington, D.C.
Correct. I work with a team of experts from the park who are interested in a reintroduction program. We look at the history of the animal to see if it's feasible to bring the animal back, in this case, into the Smoky Mountains.
Once the animal is chosen for reintroduction, an official document is made expressing the intention to relocate the animals. The document is then sent to an approval committee. This guarantees funding will be set aside for the project. Then it's time to find the creatures that will be relocated. Scott Weeman is in charge of capture and transfer of the project.
A great man from Washington wrote me because he knew I was the greatest person on the face of the earth for catching the wee ones. These little folk did live over there in the Smokies at one time. The great Cherokee Indians knew of them. They called them the Unisungis. And they knew that they lived under the rocks and the trees, by the brooks, in places that they weren't in plain sight of the Indians there. But you can lure them out with a good tune of music, because they love dancing. And once they start dancing, they whirl and they whirl. And while they're doing that, you stop your tune quick and reach out with your bare hands and grab them. Gotcha!
Absolutely. Here it is. It's been 5 years since the project's conception, but as the release date draws near, the project is almost canceled.
Well, the problem is a little typo. We inadvertently substituted an F for K, and it did change the whole path of the project. But we had spent thousands of hours and millions of dollars, and we've got to go forward with it. But we're very excited, and we're ready to move forward.
But isn't this a little unusual?
We'll be the first. We'll be unique.
The pinnacle of months of extremely hard work is about to take place. Onlookers from around the country have made the trek to the Smoky Mountains to see this historic event.
Bill, this is exciting. We've had media requests from all over the world to be able to see this. Okay, hey, they're doing great. They're doing great. Okay, I think we're ready. Okay. Let's go. I've waited my whole life for this.
Oh, man, what a hard work.
Here we go. Yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. I've waited for this moment my whole life, and I just don't know what to say. It's just nice to know that they're out there, even if you never get a chance to see them.
As the earth shakes itself loose from the chokehold of winter, patches of color herald spring. Nowhere is the abundance of beauty more evident than the Great Smoky Mountains National Park. But for Dr. Doug Weed, danger lurks within the beauty.
Anyone who drives to Clingman's Dome can obviously see the effects of the pollution on the Fraser fir and the red spruce. Of course, what we find more troubling even now is the relationship between the wildflowers and the trees in the park.
The wildflowers?
The wildflowers.
You mean like these right here?
Yes, the wildflowers that grow everywhere, they are pervasive in the park.
Is that bad?
Yes, in their own way, they are beginning to have the effect of enhancing the pollution on the trees in the park.
Wow, that sounds bad.
Well, it is pretty bad.
Is it awful?
I wouldn't say awful, it's pretty bad.
What do you test here?
Well, these particular scientific instruments are used to test the ground level ozone pollution available in the park. You see, the ground level ozone pollution forms when certain gaseous emissions, like those from automobiles, are combined with the sunlight. Now, when they're combined with the sunlight, given that the rain and the fog in the park is highly acidic, we have the elements for change. This change manifests itself in a reduction of the capability of the wildflowers to engage in the process of photosynthesis.
No longer able to produce their own food through photosynthesis, the wildflowers feed off nearby trees.
Well, our studies have shown that the wildflowers are most efficient at obtaining nutrients from the soil and ridding themselves of toxins. In the process, they also leach aluminum from the soil and replace that aluminum back into the trees which we have robbed the nutrients from, effectively ruining the trees in the process.
To save the trees, there's no choice but remove the wildflowers from the Smokies.
We have no choice. We have to rid the park of these pesky wildflowers. We are pursuing several options at the moment, the most efficient of which would be to simply yank them out by hand. Of course, the manpower cost would be prohibitive in that case.
Pull them up?
Pull them up by hand, yeah.
How do the animals affect?
Well, of course, you know, the wild boar has been a major problem in the park for many years, but, you know, the boars may actually root out the problem with the wildflowers in the end. But fire seems to be the key. The wildfire rids the ground of the pollutants and purifies the entire area. Of course, there are certain risks involved in this. You see, wildfire to control wildflowers is dangerous for the wildlife.
Really? I mean, really? Well, surely this has to be detrimental to wildlife.
Oh, we're going to reduce the impact as much as possible. We have already begun rounding up the red wolves and the black bears in order to place them in a holding area to prevent their harm.
You can't round up the black bear.
Well, we have to. We're eventually going to have to shut down the park.
Shut down the park?
Look, wildflowers are wonderful as a concept, but the insidious reality of the fact must dictate that we burn the entire park immediately. Hey, this year we hope that April showers don't bring no Mayflowers. Bill, where's he going? Where are you going?
I'm going to get help!
Would you bring back some matches, please? This looks like a lovely burn area right here.
This hydraulic dam brought power and dramatic changes to the Tennessee Valley, but it soon may be a relic in the evolution of energy. For an experiment underway nearby has tapped into a new and renewable power source.
Well, it's a very exciting use of plant biomass, Bill, and some space technology developed in space, and the combination of those two into what can be one of the most exciting developments in power generation in the country.
To give us a basic idea of this highly sophisticated process, energy researcher Dr. A.C. Watt adapted his experiment to common Idaho bakers.
The free ions that are available between the copper and the zinc produce a small electrical current enough to make this clock work. Imagine if you were to apply the same principle to a tree. Thousands, perhaps, yes, millions of times more biomass than a potato has.
As incredible as this experiment seems, one of the sample sites already has been put online.
AC, can I call you AC?
Sure, Bill.
AC, do you mean that all these trees have power?
Sure. Well, this one particular tree we can't use because of some root damage, but over here, Ronnie, is that tree hot? Is that one hot, Ronnie?
Yeah, this one's ready.
Okay, Bill.
Plugged up.
Right. This looks like a simple little plug that you see in your home, but obviously there's some microcircuitry in there that NASA has provided us.
You want me to hold this?
Here we have a blower, a one-horse blower that any common house might have, and we'll plug this in, straight into here. It's got a transformer converting it to AC, and if you hit the switch, and there you go.
Amazingly, large-scale production of tree-generated electricity is already a reality. All these trees have power in them?
Well, all these trees are powered, and actually we've installed little transformers in this particular section here so we can get AC out of it.
Well, how did you feel when you first discovered it?
Well, frankly, Bill, we were shocked.
These underground cables will harness the energy of the trees while preserving the beauty of the forest.
And you have basically a substation on 3 acres of land that looks just like a seed orchard. We've found these little bonsai trees produce exactly 12 volts of power. You could take these little trees, of course these are just now developing, camping, you could take your microwave to the Smokies in a few years. What do you think about that?
What do we got here?
Well, we're in the little city of Norris, where we have a pilot project set up to see if we can make this power work in a residential setting or a small business setting. We have 3 trees here, 2 oaks and an elm, hooked up to a small thrift shop. I think an effort is now just being started to plant a lot of barren areas with trees all across the country.
Never forget.
They all laughed at the horseless carriage and the telephone. And though they may look odd, the future of electric trees is bright indeed.
Ladies and gentlemen, we confess that everything you've heard tonight has not been true. In fact, most of what you've heard tonight has been particularly untrue. Nevertheless, you can believe it if you want to. Some of it might be true. Like my daddy used to say, don't take any wooden nickels. April Fool. See you next week.
It is an amazing story.
Can I call you AC?
Sure.
She will come out of that knothole as a full-blown false starling. It certainly is. It's one of nature's really big mysteries.
So, we asked what you think of April Fool's Day pranks. Most of you sang, you dislike them.